In the dense fog of an isolated valley, where the earth had long swallowed the remains of steel, lay a set of abandoned railway tracks. Once, they carried passengers across cities, mountains, and rivers, but now, they were nothing more than rusted bones of forgotten past. Locals whispered about the phantom train, a ghostly locomotive that emerged only once every 100 years. They said it was cursed, carrying the souls of those who never reached their final destination. For an hour, it thundered across the empty rails before vanishing into nothingness. Old men in the nearby town often warned curious wanderers, when the mist grows thick and the wind howls like a dying whistle, stay far from a valley, for the phantom train comes for the living, too. It had been 99 years since the last sighting. The night before the centennial, a storm swept across the land. Lightning tore the sky, rain battered the trees, and the sound of distant wheels on tracks echoed where no trains had run in decades. Among the villagers, excitement and fear grew. Some locked their doors, while others dared to speak of waiting near the rails to witness the forbidden sight. Among them was Evelyn, a young historian obsessed with mysteries. She had studied every account of the phantom train, from faded newspaper clippings to journals written by trembling hands. Evelyn believed the ghost train wasn't just a tale. It was forgotten tragedy, a mystery buried in time. The air was thick with silence when the clock struck midnight. Evelyn stood by the broken tracks, her lantern flickering. Suddenly, the earth trembled beneath her feet. A low, metallic rumble grew louder and louder until it pierced the night like thunder. Out of the mist, the phantom train emerged. Its iron body was blackened and cracked, yet it gleamed with an unnatural glow. Sparks lit its wheels, though the rails beneath it were broken and incomplete. The whistle shrieked, not of steel, but of human cries. Inside the carriages, ghostly figures sat frozen, men in bowler hats, women in long dresses, soldiers in torn uniforms, all staring blankly ahead. Their faces were pale, eyes hollow, as though trapped between life and death. As the train screeched to a halt, a conductor appeared at the doorway. His uniform was tattered, his face gaunt, and his eyes glowed faintly. With a skeletal hand, he tipped his cap and extended a faded ticket toward Evelyn. Her heart pounded. The legend said only the chosen could see the phantom train, and only the brave could board. Against every instinct, she stepped forward and took the ticket. The door groaned open, and a chilling voice whispered, "All aboard." Inside, time twisted. The carriages shifted between eras. One moment filled with candlelight and velvet seats, the next with flickering electric lamps and cracked leather chairs. The passengers remained unmoving, whispering only when Evelyn passed. "We never arrived. The storm took us. Find the truth." She realized the train wasn't just cursed. It was a prison for lost souls from a century-old disaster. The storm that struck the valley had derailed the train, killing everyone aboard. But no record of the tragedy had ever been kept. Their deaths were erased from history, and so their spirits wandered, bound to the endless cycle of the phantom train. Evelyn knew she had only an hour before the train vanished again. She raced from carriage to carriage, piecing together the story. She found fragments of diaries, scraps of uniforms, and luggage with names engraved on them. Every clue was a voice begging to be remembered. Finally, she reached the engine. The driver, a ghostly figure with hollow eyes, turned to her. "Write our names, tell our story, free us." The train roared and flames licked the walls. The hour was nearly gone. Evelyn clutched her notebook, scribbling every detail as the world around her began to blur. As the whistle screamed one last time, the phantom train faded into mist. Evelyn stumbled forward, collapsing onto the cold ground of the valley. When she opened her eyes, the tracks were once again broken and lifeless. But in her hands lay the notebook, its pages filled with names, dates, and the story of the doomed passengers. The phantom train had vanished for another 100 years, but its secret no longer belonged to silence. Evelyn dedicated her life to publishing the truth, ensuring that those souls were never forgotten again. Yet, deep in the valley, on nights when the fog thickened and the wind grew cold, she swore she could still hear the distant whistle calling her back. After Evelyn published her account, historians flocked to the valley. Old railway maps were unearthed, Yet none marked the train's final route. Strangely, in dusty archives, Evelyn discovered a list of survivors from a different train accident in the same year. But when she tracked their descendants, every family refused to speak. Some slammed doors in her face. Others whispered warnings. The train takes back those who look too closely. It seemed the phantom train was not just a relic of the past. It was still claiming lives. One night, while studying near the valley, Evelyn met an old man carrying a flickering lantern. His skin was pale, and his eyes glowed faintly like burning embers. He introduced himself as a lantern keeper, a soul doomed to guide those drawn to the phantom train. "Every century it returns," he rasped. "But not all who board leave. Some remain forever, passengers of eternity." He warned Evelyn. Her name was already written on the phantom's ledger. The train had marked her, and when it returned, it would come for her again. Haunted by the warning, Evelyn began keeping a nightly journal. Soon, she noticed strange occurrences, ink on her pages shifting into names she hadn't written, whispers in the silence of her room, and the distant rumble of wheels even when no train ran nearby. One night, her journal revealed an entire timetable of the phantom train's future routes, written in handwriting not her own. At the bottom was a chilling line. 100 years is not enough. The train will come sooner. The prophecy proved true. Only 7 years after her first encounter, the earth trembled again. Evelyn rushed to the valley and found the train waiting, this time shrouded in deeper shadows. But it was different now. The passengers no longer sat silently. They pressed against the glass, reaching out with skeletal hands, their mouths open in voiceless screams. The conductor appeared again, holding 2 tickets. "You must choose," he said, "one to ride with us, or one to remain and carry the curse." Evelyn's choice remains unknown. Some say she boarded, vanishing into the mist, her name erased from the world of the living. Others claim she remained, cursed to await the train's next arrival, her soul bound like the lantern keepers. But travelers near the valley still tell of a ghostly figure carrying a notebook and lantern, warning wanderers with hollow eyes. And sometimes on stormy nights, when the fog drapes the land, the whistle of the phantom train is heard, not once in a century, but far more often. It seems the cycle is broken. The phantom train no longer waits 100 years. It hunts. Thank you for watching this story. Stay tuned for more mysteries ahead. Crescent Moon Locomotive Sparkles.